Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a conversation between a clerk and a tourist about a short trip. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, wonderful travel agency. How can I help you?
Good morning. I'd like to know about the information about your short trip. What's the name of the trip?
Magic One Day.
Right. Could you introduce me to the tour?
Of course, and we will give you a 5% discount if you book the latest trip.
Fine. When is the next one going?
We have a trip every Saturday, which usually departs at 8 o'clock in the morning.
And when will we come back?
About 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Fine. How about the type of transportation?
We like to keep our tours small, so we offer a coach or a minibus.
That's great. So how many tourists are there in one group?
Usually we take about 15 to 20 tourists, but you know it is peak time now, so the number is up to 25 tourists.
Well, that sounds good. So how much is the tour price?
As I said, I will give you a 5% discount, so the cost is £18 for each person.
Great! Does it include lunch?
No, but the guide fee has been included.
Do I need to book a seat?
Yes, at peak season, in order to ensure your position, seat reservation is needed, so the tourist has to reserve a seat at least 2 days before leaving.
Now, look at questions 6 to 10. Okay, and how about the deposit?
You don't need to pay any fees in advance.
Fine. How about payment? Cash or credit card?
Because we collect money just before departing, the only payment we accept is cash.
Fine. I see.
That's okay. And let me confirm you with your customer reference number.
Fine.
That is FC864.
Right, I'll write it down.
How about other things do you want to know?
Yes. I'd like to know what attractions we will visit during the tour.
Well, let me check the time schedule. We will start at 8 o'clock and will arrive at Edinburgh about 10 o'clock. The first resort we will visit is Old Castles, the most famous Scottish castles. It is the home of the Scottish crown jewels, the oldest royal regalia in Britain.
Well, may I take photos?
Of course.
I heard that the City Hall is a good place. Will we go there?
The next tour does not include that place.
Okay.
and then we will go on to St. Giles's Cathedral, with 1,000 years of history. It is renowned for its stained glass, regal organ and beautiful thistle chapel.
Great. Is it near to the zoo?
Yes, after lunch you will visit Royal Palace. It is a good place to know about royal family's life, but it has a rule with no photo.
Right.
But you can pick some souvenirs in the local handicraft shops close to the palace.
Great.
And about 4 o'clock we will get to the Seabird Centre.
Do you mean the aquarium?
No, they are different places.
Okay. Does it have an animal performance?
Sure, you can appreciate the play of dolphin and sea lion.
It sounds good.
About 6 o'clock we will return. If you need other information, please read our tour booklet.
Fine. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You'll hear a conversation between a doctor and a student. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
Good afternoon, Doctor. May I come in?
Yes, come in.
I'm a freshman in the university and I don't feel very good.
Okay, sit down, please. I need to record some basic details about you first.
Fine.
What's your full name?
Mary Nixon.
Is your surname spelt Nixon?
That's right.
Well, Mary, what's your major?
I'm studying art.
A good choice. Tell me your registered number.
Registered number? Sorry, I'm not sure. Maybe...
Did you bring your union card or library card?
Yes, I brought it.
Okay, well, tell me the number on your card.
It is MN0918.
And your birthday?
I was born on November 20th, 1987.
Where are you from?
I come from New York.
Oh, we are from the same city.
Really?
Yes. Where do you live? Campus accommodation?
Actually, I will move out from campus flat tomorrow. I rent a house in Northwest with 3 friends.
Fine. Tell me your present address.
It is 17th King Street.
Okay, and your contact number?
367-8259.
Right, now let's get some of your medical background.
Okay.
Have you ever had any serious illnesses or accidents?
I got gastritis when I was in middle school.
Did you have an operation?
No, I just took medicine and had some injections.
Anything else?
No, nothing.
Now, look at questions 16 to 20. So, Mary, what's your trouble?
Well, recently I've been having some trouble with my head and eyes and nose.
Oh, no.
I think I've got a terrible flu.
Maybe or maybe not. Describe your problem specifically.
Okay. Since last week I've been sneezing, and sometimes I can't stop, and even later I begin to feel dizzy.
Do you get a fever?
No.
Did you attend any unusual activities during the last week?
Let me think. No, nothing special. Yeah, I had camping last Monday.
To where?
Eastern Mountain. You know there are lots of beautiful flowers. We took many photos there.
So your illness has lasted for 1 week?
Yes, but sometimes I'm fine. I don't know why.
Do you have any allergies?
I remember I got allergic to mango when I was a child, but now I'm fine.
How about flowers? I mean, pollen.
You mean I'm allergic to pollen?
Yes.
What should I do?
I suggest you take some medicine first and drink more water.
Okay.
And then, if your symptoms are getting worse, I suggest you go to a hospital to check.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I hope you will recover soon.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear a conversation between a science tutor and 2 first-year students who are being given some practical tips for conducting experiments. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
Now, Vincent and Tessa, I've asked the 2 of you to come and see me because I'm a bit concerned after that incident in the science lab last week. I realise that neither of you have had much experience in a laboratory before.
Well, we mostly just studied theory at high school.
And we rarely got the opportunity to carry out any experiments.
Fair enough, but we must all abide by certain safety procedures. The last thing we want is for one of our students to get hurt.
We understand that.
Our priority is to make sure that the chemistry laboratory is a safe place, and actually, accidents can easily be prevented if you just think about what you're doing at all times.
It sounds simple enough.
It is if you always use good judgment, observe safety rules, and follow directions.
We've read the rules on the poster inside the lab.
And yet last week you were seen working in the lab without eye protection.
What do you mean? I was wearing my glasses.
Prescription glasses are not safety glasses. You must always wear the goggles provided. You'll find they fit quite comfortably over your ordinary glasses.
Oh, I see.
Just make a habit of putting them on before you start and keep them on until you are finished. And another thing, never eat or drink while in the laboratory.
What? Not even water?
Not even water. At least not until after clean-up. Then be sure to wash your hands thoroughly with soap and hot water and dry them on a clean towel first. And Tessa, your hair should be tied back when you're in the lab.
It's not that long.
Still, it poses a hazard when you're working with chemicals or a naked flame. If you can't tie it back or pin it up, See if you can tuck it into a cap or something.
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you. Now, Vincent, last week you wore a t-shirt and trainers in the lab. The rules clearly state that long-sleeved shirts and leather shoes must be worn.
Oh, yes, I remember. I was late getting back from sports practice and I didn't have time to change.
Well, it mustn't happen again.
Okay, I'll see that it doesn't.
Good. As for the rest of the safety precautions, refer to the safety poster inside the lab and you shouldn't have any problems.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30.
Now, before you go, a word about record keeping.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you about that.
What's the best way to keep track of what we're doing in the lab?
Well, obviously all your observations should be written down. I know you think you won't forget stuff and you'll be able to recall it later, but generally this turns out not to be the case. Written data, however, are a permanent record, and you must be thorough. Organise and record everything in a bound notebook.
I use a spiral notebook.
And I use a large notepad.
That won't do. A book with binding ensures the pages are not easily removed or lost. Oh, and be sure to write your entries in complete sentences.
Isn't that a waste of time?
Surely notes are good enough.
You might think so, but brief notes can be hard to decipher at a later date. Whereas with full sentences, you are less likely to misinterpret data.
I make sketches, simple drawings.
That's a good idea, Vincent, but be sure to date them.
You want us to write the date next to each drawing?
Yes. Every sketch and every entry must be dated.
What about headings?
Use the title of the experiment as your first entry. When you have completed your observation entries, answer any questions that have been posed, and then, finally, write your conclusion.
How do we write a conclusion? Do we need to repeat things like the questions and our findings, or the time it all took?
Just write your own ideas or feelings about the experiment as the conclusion. Oh, and remember to sign it. Well, that's all I have time for today. If you have any questions, ask the lab assistant or come back to me.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear a talk on the importance of soil in organic agriculture. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Welcome to this talk on soil science and organic farming. Dirt, soil, earth, loam, mud or dust, it doesn't matter what you call it, is of primary importance in the production of food and other crops. Most people think of it just as a substrate or medium in which plants grow, but it's more than that. It's actually a living entity. Or it should be if it's healthy, and human health is affected by the health of the soil. Healthy, living soil is literally crawling with life. There are the obvious earthworms, which burrow in the soil and help to aerate and improve it, beetles and other hard-backed insects, and various invertebrates like centipedes. Then there are fungi and bacteria, also living forms. Healthy soil needs food, air, and water to help plants grow. And the more nutrients in plants, the more available for humans and livestock. It stands to reason, therefore, that plants grown in poor soil will have few nutrients to pass on to the consumer, whose well-being will be worse off over the long term. So, where do plants get their nourishment? Most of it comes from the soil. Some nutrients are made up of minerals from the earth, while others come from dead plant and animal matter, which is broken down over time by the living insects and other organisms in the soil. Plants depend on these little living creatures to convert minerals and other vital elements into a utilizable form that can be taken up by the plants. And it's a synergistic relationship. In turn, the plants assist those helpful organisms by releasing sugars and enzymes back into the soil. Before I go any further, let's take a look at the structure of soil. Now, if you look at the diagram, you will see that soil is made up of many different layers. Let's start at the bottom. This is the bedrock under all the other layers. The layer above that is called regolith. Here, the bedrock is slightly broken up, but plant roots don't penetrate this layer. Moving up the chart to the next layer, we come to the subsoil, which contains clay and mineral deposits. On top of that is the alluviation or leaching layer. This is quite light in color and is mostly just sand and silt. As we get near the surface, we find the topsoil. You will hear a lot of talk about topsoil amongst farmers and other agriculturalists. It's the most important layer of all because it's where seeds germinate and roots grow. Now, at the top of the chart, you will see a comparatively thin layer. This is organic matter that is still in the process of decomposition. It mostly consists of leaf litter and humus. Just think of the surface of the forest floor, partly decayed leaves and twigs, that sort of thing. As you can imagine, good soil forms very slowly over time, but it can be lost very rapidly through erosion. And, in addition, soil quality can be affected by pollution due to anything from industrial waste to the artificial fertilizers used by conventional farmers, which have been shown to suppress the diverse life forms in the soil. This is why organic agriculture is the way of the future. Let's take a quick look at the conventional system, which is often based on monoculture, the production of a single large crop. It relies on chemicals for fertilizer and pest control. It is also becoming an increasingly common practice to use genetically engineered seeds. And more chemicals are used to control insects and fungi, which attack crops in storage and during transportation. Also, did you know that there is no requirement for conventional growers to maintain records of their production practices? Organic growers, on the other hand, choose the most environmentally friendly options for dealing with pests and disease problems, working towards prevention in the first place. Some of the strategies they employ include alternating the crops grown in each field, as opposed to monocropping. Because different plants add different nutrients to the soil, by rotating crops, the soil is naturally replenished. This can do away with the need for pesticides, because the problem insects' life cycles are naturally interrupted. Surrounding crops with green waste can not only conserve moisture in the soil, but it can prevent weeds from springing up, and it also feeds the beneficial microorganisms. When it's ploughed under, it feeds the soil by building more organic matter. Organic farmers often release beneficial insects as predators, which precludes the need for artificial pesticides. Animal manure, combined with green waste materials, correctly composted to kill pathogens and weed seeds, fertilizes the soil in a way that encourages life rather than suppressing it. And, by the way, use of manure in organic farming is highly regulated. In fact, all agricultural inputs are evaluated for their long-term effects on the environment, regardless of whether they are synthetic or natural. To sum up, organic farming is the only sustainable way of feeding the people on this planet, and keeping both the planet and the people in good health.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.